I care about you more than anyone else. That's an unwavering truth, even now.
I thought that you'd forgotten.
I never said anything of the sort.
Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Geek News Anime Night, where we take a series and we go episode by episode and analyze it and talk about all the ups, the downs, and all the crap that happened in it. I am your host, Adam Mickelson, and I am being joined by my lovely wife, Andrea. Also, you can call me Drac, because I forgot to do that. What the hell? It's almost like Never mind. I'm not going down this road. I can't do it. Andrea's already even looking at me and going, "Don't go down this road." Yes. Okay. We won't do this, but So when this is being recorded, it's been about a week since we saw episode 2, but oh boy, I have no problem saying this, but episode 2 exploded my brain. It exploded my brain. Is it safe to say that it exploded your brain?
I was completely in awe.
Okay. All right. That's one way to take it. And most of my in awe, let's use your term. Most of my in awe was basically going, what is going on? So we're here to talk about episode 2, An Unwavering Truth, which going over kind of it's kind of hard to go over this plot wise because we've gone a week, but the plot points are still kind of there, so we can talk about those. I do also want to point this out. The opening scene of Shigure and a young Akito, where he hands her I don't even know what kind of a flower it is, but he hands her that, and I can't remember the exact term, but he's like, "My love for you I will always care about you. That's an unwavering truth." So that's kind of the reason that it's named for that. What'd you think of that scene?
I don't know what to think about it.
It's a weird scene, especially when you put that together with the fact that Shigure, Hattori, Ayame, and Kurano all went to Ren Sohma's womb and said, "We've been waiting." And so at that point, it's like, okay, this is kind of weird and creepy. That he immediately has he has unconditional love for this, but I guess it's the curse. I guess that's how it's supposed to work. But then we go into the opening for this, and a few people wanted to know our opinion on the new opening for it, which is Pleasure by Warp Up. I will tell you that the song is actually pretty good. I've actually listened to it a couple of times. But the thing I want to point out with the opening that's, I think, very unique is I don't know exactly how they did this, because I don't know the name for the tech, but they put these animated characters in real-life environments. In real-life Japanese environments. You know what I'm talking about? Like where we had Kyo, he was on top of a roof, but it was an actual, like, roof in Japan.
Oh, you would think it would be, like, as realistic as possible.
Well, no, what I'm saying is the contrast. I don't remember what the tech is, but it looked really good. So I like that. I also like the contrasting couples that we got to see, including, and I guess that this is a spoiler for what season 3 is going to have, but we got to see an older hero, an older Kisa, and potentially an older Momiji. So at that point, it's interesting that we got to see those older models and got to see like the changes that these characters will go through. The one thing I will say about the opening that's a little worrisome is Kagura it looks like she's being kind of relegated off to the outside, which makes me wonder if Kagura is not going to get any kind of focus in this season. And that seems weird for a Sohma family member to not have some kind of a focus. Because I have a feeling this season is going to be breaking the curse, right? So wouldn't you want to show all of the Sohmas with their curse broken?
Yeah.
But then they had the scene in the opening where she's like off in the she's off in the dark corner. and it makes me wonder if they're maybe not going to focus on her. Maybe her story kind of ended when she broke up with Kyo. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to at least make that mention of opening 3 or Pleasure by Warp Up. I like the song. I like what they did with the opening, especially where they show the contrasting couples, because they show Akito and Shigure. They show Hiro and Kisa. And this is the other thing that's interesting too. So they show Kyo and Toru together, but and this episode kind of teases it. Yuki is next to Machi in it, which I wonder if they're maybe teasing a romance between the two of them. But I mean, what do you think of that? Like, did you want Yuki to end up with Toru, or are like what's your take on that?
Well, it just seems more like Kyo and Toru might as well just get together.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense, and I actually like the fact that they're saying like, well, Yuki doesn't have to be the unhappy third wheel. You know, he'll find his own romance. You know. So I tend to agree with that, but there's a couple of things that we actually need to go over, which is the first thing I want to get over, because it's not the most what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the biggest part of the episode. It actually starts with Toru getting home from her what do they call it? A nightgown gala. I can't remember what Saki called it, but she's getting home and
nightgown ball or
something like that.
Oh. Or a nightgown pageant, or I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But she's getting home, and everybody's just barely kind of waking up, and they're all saying their hellos and everything like that before going to school. And Shigure, they kind of tease, is going to go and get a phone call just after they leave. But this is all going to kind of tie in to everything. At school, I guess for the graduating class, it is the job of the previous year's class to make a bunch of paper versions of those red flowers that we saw. And I wish I knew what they were. I want to say like orchids, but they're probably not. They have to make paper versions of these. And so they basically said each class member has to make this many versions of this to be able to put around the celebration. And everybody did it, except since Yuki is the class president, he did his, but since he has to go off and do other things, the Prince Yuki fan club ran off with his to go, I don't know, sniff them. Like, why? They're paper. It makes no sense.
Hang them on the wall, I don't know.
I'm starting to think that the Prince Yuki fan club and Helga from Hey Arnold have way too many talking points that they can get along on. So they do that, and I guess the discussion is whether or not to just remake them or to go find the Prince Yuki fan club girls and get them back. Ultimately, they decide we'll go get them back and assign Kyo and Toru to stay in the classroom just in case they come back for more. Also, we get to find out this interesting fact. Not only is there a Prince Yuki fan club, there is also now a Prince Kyo fan club as well. Just thoughts on that.
I can't imagine.
Do we expect full-on civil war within the school over who is cuter, Prince Yuki or Prince Kyo?
Pretty sure.
Will it be Lord of the Rings caliber fights?
If it gets down to that.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Instead of arrows flying everywhere, it's erasers and chalk. But yeah, so Kyo's also gets stolen, so they go and take care of that. But we get to have a nice, touching moment between Toru and Kyo, which Kyo doesn't take advantage of. I don't care that you're building up romance. He had an opportunity, and he didn't take it. Don't give me that look. I'd take that opportunity. I have taken that opportunity. But, I mean, what? You look like I'm wrong in that.
Well,
this was when they were alone, and I believe
who?
Toru and Kyo.
Oh,
in
okay.
The classroom.
I thought you were talking about Yuki.
No, and they have basically a quiet moment where it looks like they're about to kiss, and then Arisa in her infinite wisdom, wrecks the moment. That happens. Meanwhile, with Yuki, who has to patrol the grounds, he has a stalker following him around. That stalker is Machi. Why is Machi stalking him? To say hi.
Just to say hi.
Yeah, did you buy that?
No.
Did you buy that just to say hi?
No.
Well, Yuki did. And Yuki found it interesting enough so that he would... They're like on the stairs and he pats her on the head.
Who in the right mind?
Cringe, right?
Who would do that? You know?
I mean, I do it to our kids.
well,
But that's because they're my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just think if I did this in the middle of a date with you when we're recording each other and I just pat you on the head.
I think that would be weird, really.
Yes! I think it would be too. But Yuki, and even Yuki Yuki and Machi kind of both acknowledged, yeah, this is kind of weird. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. These are kind of the side plot that is going on in this. The main plot centers around Shigure and Akito, and this is where things get really up. We get to learn a lot about the Sohma family in this, and just how messed up things are. Now, granted, the Kyo and Yuki generation is not this effed up, but apparently the generation with Shigure and all of them, along with Akito, it gets ridiculous. So we find out that because we've kind of known this, like Akito has to push herself to be as masculine as possible to be the head of the family, and they actually showcase what's her name? It's not Machi. It's the editor for Shigure. She actually comes to go and grab a drink with Shigure, probably to talk about work. And she comes in on a family gathering and sees Shigure talking to his parents. His parents, who look younger than him. Fucking anime, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking anime. We can't tell who's older and who's younger. Can't tell anymore. Oh, you think this is a little girl? No, this is a 900-year-old elf. No, this is just another one of those examples where anime, I really wish you'd get age straight.
It's probably Japan. You wouldn't get age straight, I'm sure.
Probably. It still hurts my head. Stop it. So we have that moment. She actually, Shigure and her go off to go have their... Mizuru, that's her name. Mizuru. They go and have their drink. Supposedly, Shigure's parents actually urged him to go and greet Akito, and he refused. So we get to have that moment where Shigure's parents apologize to Akito for Shigure. And Akito looks kind of distraught by it. So they go and have their drink, and we're presuming that Shigure pulled how many practical jokes on Mizuru during this outing?
How many?
How many practical jokes were pulled on her?
Just on this meeting alone?
Yeah, on this meeting for a drink. I'm saying 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
I'm saying 3. I'm guessing he spiked her drink so that she'd fall asleep at the bar and he could leave. That has to be one of them. Maybe he played coy with her. I could totally see that happening. We're learning a lot about Shigure, that he is a totally different character in this series than he was in the original. And part of that is just because things began to eat up at this point in the manga. So we then cut to a scene that kind of covers most of this episode, a confrontation between Akito and Shigure. Because Shigure comes back and pays his respects, and wow, they are extremely bitter with one another, aren't they? And I loved how Shigure started it up. Akito, you're looking masculine as always. And we get to learn a number of things here. First of all, we get to learn that apparently, because Shigure loves Akito, and he does, he occasionally likes to with her.
Mm-hmm.
Both literally and figuratively. And what I mean, so we actually get to a point where we're presuming sex happens between Akito and Shigure. But he also likes to mess with her mentally and emotionally. the reason that we find out about this is because for some reason Shigure thought it was a good idea to spend the night with Ren, who is like Akito's sworn enemy in this season. Like her effed up mom. He decided to go and have sex with her.
That is just crazy.
My eyes.
That would be me. That would be like. Then he would be starting to call him her dad. You know. Shh.
Now I need to get that out of my head. Oh man, now I have a meme I have to show you. Anyway, so that happens, but as punishment, the reason that Shigure lives outside of the Sohma family compound is because of this. Akito banished him because of this, because he wanted to be as close to her as possible, because he still has that unwavering truth to Akito. He still cares about her. But because of this, his punishment was to be banished out to that cabin out in Sohma-owned land, but he couldn't be close to Akito anymore. Also as punishment, Akito slept with Kurano. Because that's how you solve things in a relationship! You just go sleep around!
Mm-hmm.
Was I the only one that thought about the weird taxi episode where we find out that Laka was stuck in the cab in the middle of winter, and in order to conserve body heat, him and the girl in the cab had sex. And because of that, they had to go to their religious minister, and the minister basically said, okay, well, Simka has to cheat on you. And so she goes to Alex, Rieger? Alex Rieger's apartment to try... Most awkward episode in all of Taxi.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it never happened, but this is their answer. Who's Akito going to sleep with? The person she has to torment and punish the most, Kurano. And what makes this even worse, we get a flashback to a call, the call I was mentioning earlier, where Kurano was calling up Shigure to explain that he doesn't have the curse anymore. He's told nobody about this, but Kurano felt like Shigure needed to know. And on top of that, we find out just how much hatred Shigure has against Kurano, because he gets to stay by Akito's side way more often than Shigure does.
Oh my goodness.
Holy shit, this family's fucked up! I'm literally trying to censor myself, but I am, like, you can attest to this, but we were watching this, I'm like, what the is going on? Holy crap! This family is doomed! It doesn't just have the curse, it has a dozen other things going on wrong with it. This family is a Jerry Springer episode waiting to happen.
They might as well go on the Jerry Springer show.
Yeah, and then have hugs, and then poof! And then everybody has to have their memories erased. But man, that'd be a kick-ass episode, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Wait, did he just turn into a dog? Yeah, that's pretty much the episode. Final thoughts on it.
I don't have any final thoughts.
I mean, are we calling this a good or a bad episode? Because in terms of writing, I can't call it bad just yet.
But it was sure a WTF episode.
It was a WTF episode to the nth degree. The WTF was turned up to 15 on this. I can't ignore that.
And I take it this never happened in the original.
No, 2002 ends at Kyo's true form.
I can't remember.
Yep, you'll have to go watch that, because it ends at Kyo's true form, because we never saw Rin in it, we never saw Kurano, we never had the revelation that Akito was a girl. None of that happened. But this is supposed to follow the manga. So
I wonder why the other one didn't go any further than that.
I can't remember all the details, but Alex can probably tell you. There was a lot of friction between the studio that was making it as well as the creator, the mangaka. And ultimately, a second season was denied. So they didn't get to finish it. I can't remember. want to say that the creator like thought it was too fluffy, it was too happy, and ultimately it was going to get darker in the later seasons or however they did it. But this one accurately follows the manga by the order of the mangaka. So yeah, I can't necessarily call it bad writing. I can say, however, way too many reveals. Just way too many reveals. They could have easily held back the whole "you slept with Ren" and just focused on Kurano and basically made like this is part of why Kurano tortures himself. But the Ren revelation was so much, especially since the previous episode we literally saw Akito try to kill her mother.
Yeah.
Because that's how evil Ren is. And then you basically say, oh, yeah, I love you eternally, except I also like to with you. And therefore, I'm going to go sleep with your mom. Now, I have since done some reading on this. Supposedly, the way that this is supposed to go, Shigure is the anti-villain, or the anti-hero of this series. Because he doesn't necessarily act... I want to say they said anti-villain. Where he's not necessarily bad, but he does horrible things. And we've also been getting hinted in the previous seasons, like he has this weird revenge plot against Akito. And now I'm kind of wondering, was the revenge plot because of sleeping with Kurano? But he slept with Ren first. The way that they say it, he slept with Ren first. So, okay. Character of the episode.
Why would he have done that in the first place?
He literally basically says he did it for shits and giggles. Because I love you so much, but sometimes I want you to suffer. That's not how he said that. That's not exactly what he said, but it's basically what he said. I love you so much, I want to make you suffer. And so that's why he slept with Ren. Because that's how our relationship works. So, character of the episode. I mean, I have to give it to Shigure because of all the revelations and the fact that, you know, he's the focus and he gets a majority of the good writing here.
Yeah, you can't deny that, really.
So you're saying Shigure too?
Uh-huh.
Out of 5, what would you give this episode?
Probably give it a 3.
I'm going to give it a what the out of 10!
Okay.
Out of 15! Okay, honest score, I'm probably going to give it like a 3.5. No, 3. I'm going to stick with 3. I'm going to stick with 3 with you. But I'm still giving a what the out of 10! And that being said, that's going to go ahead and do it for this podcast. When we come back, we will delve into episode 3 of Fruits Basket Season 3. Until then, have a good one.
WTF.
What the fuck?